Good morning, 8th graders. So this is our 2.1.2 activity, the sun and earth diagram. I'm going to kind of just walk you through a good portion of this. It is technically 3 pages. Okay, I've already detached this one because we're going to be using this quite often with the front side. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a diagram of the Earth's orbit. That is this page. And a pencil. Okay. I grabbed a highlighter in case I need to highlight something for you guys, just as like a, hey, you should know this. Okay. So, procedures. Use your resources to help label the following latitude names on the left Earth in the diagram. Write the labels off to the left side of that Earth. So I'm going to highlight this so you guys understand the importance. This is going to happen on the left Earth and then off to the side, the left side of this Earth. So, and we even give you a good majority of like where these go. So we have the Arctic Circle, which is the most northern line, the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, which is the middle line, the Tropic of Capricorn, and then the Antarctic Circle, which is the most southern line. Okay, so if I go here, okay, and I'm going to be working on this, it tells me I need to do the left Earth. That is this one. Okay, I'm right-handed, so I have to go the opposite of that. That means that we are going to be labeling all of this stuff on this Earth. Okay, I'm gonna just, all your labels should go over there. So if I were to use just the hints they give me right now, okay, and by they, I mean me. I gave you those hints. Don't not use them, please. Okay, so we have the Arctic Circle, which is the most northern. Well, I don't see a compass rose, so I'm going to assume that this way is north, okay? And this way is south, which means that this is east and west. If you don't have a compass rose, this is what we should be assuming, okay? So the most northern line is the Arctic Circle. So over here, I'm going to write Arctic Circle, okay? I don't know where the Tropic of Cancer necessarily goes, but the equator is the middle line. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find the middle. Okay, so this is my equator. Now you can write it on here, but just know that you have to have kind of neatish handwriting in order to do so. So I have labeled the Arctic Circle, the equator, okay? And now I don't know where the Tropic of Capricorn goes, but the Antarctic Circle is the most southern. So that is all the way down here. Okay, this is my Antarctic Circle. Okay. So using some deductive reasoning skills, or you can use the Googs. This will start at the top, middle, bottom. So we're going to assume the Tropic of Cancer potentially fits in here, and the Tropic of Capricorn fits down here. Okay? Verify this. Just quick do a Google search. Like, pull up a latitude diagram of the Earth. Okay? I'm not going to do that for you, so you still need to complete 2 and 4 of number 1. Okay? Label the rotation and revolution of the Earth. Place the labels on the appropriate arrows. The arrows that we are referring to include this arrow and this arrow. So you need to tell me which one is rotation and which one is revolution. And this is big for you to know, so I'm not going to do it. Okay? But this is where you'll be placing those responses. Okay? So just for the sake of giving you, this is number 2. Okay. Number 3, on the first line under the appropriate circles representing the Earth, label the following: December 21st or 22nd, June 20th or 21st, March 20th or 21st, September 20th or 21st. Okay? You are essentially telling me which Earth is in which season. I always like to start with the Earths that have the axis completely pointed in one direction. Okay? So, if this axis is pointed toward the sun, meaning we are getting the most direct radiation here at this northern latitude, okay, the northern hemisphere is experiencing which season? Okay? If we are receiving the most direct radiation, we can assume we are within the season summer. Okay? So I'm just going to make a little note. You do not need to write this. But this would be the northern hemisphere in summer. Okay? What days tend to fall around our summer? Okay? So if this is summer, and over here we have this more southern line of latitude receiving direct radiation, that means the northern hemisphere is within the season winter. Okay? So these are just little blurb bits for me. Okay? Then the season, if we're moving in this direction, because that's what these arrows tell me, we're moving in our counterclockwise direction. The season between summer and winter would be what? And the season between winter and summer is what? Okay? Now, that then essentially helps you identify number 4. On the second line under the appropriate circle representing the Earth, label the following: spring equinox, fall equinox, summer solstice, winter solstice. Okay? So number 3 is going to go on your firstmost line. Okay, so this is number 3. This is number 4. Okay, so you are going to tell me the date here, and you are going to tell me the either equinox, or solstice here. Okay? So remember, these are the lines to be able to answer number 2. I'm going to make sure I put the number next to it so we know. Number 2. Okay? This is where you're going to write answers number 3. And this is where you're going to write answers number 4. Okay? After that, you need to answer the following questions. Okay? On what dates do the following seasons begin in the Northern Hemisphere? Okay? So we need to keep in mind we're only focusing in on the Northern Hemisphere. Okay? During the first day of each season, what name of latitude from step 1 does the direct ray of sunlight hit the Earth? So in order to answer that, you are going to need to look at the direct rays. Okay? I will give you these 2. Okay? These are hitting the equator. But this is to be able to answer what number was that? Number 5.2. Okay? These are hitting the equator. These do not hit the equator. Okay? But your direct rays are what's going to help you answer question 5.2. Just want to make sure that you see this, okay? What is the name of each day of the first day of each of the seasons. Okay, so we call it the summer solstice. You can get that from up here. Okay, so we call it the summer solstice. Okay, we call it the fall equinox, which is coming up shortly. Equinox. Okay, see if you can figure out the last two. Okay, number 4. If the earth were not tilted on its axis, so this is our axis. If we were not tilted, okay, if we weren't tilted, the direct rays of sunlight always strike the earth's what? Okay, what line of latitude would this strike? Okay, and then what do you think would happen to our climates and seasons? So if we didn't have this tilt, this mainly affects our summer and our winter. If we did not have that tilt, what would happen to everyone's seasons? Okay? In which direction does the earth rotate when looking down through the North Pole? So if you were looking down at the earth through the North Pole, which direction? And if you just look at the arrows, it's going to tell you, but you need to tell me, is that clockwise or counterclockwise? Okay? In which direction does the earth revolve around the sun? Clockwise or counterclockwise? Okay? So, those two questions alone help you answer these ones. Okay? See why it's important to read through your entire activity before you really get going. So, in which direction is the earth moving around the sun? Okay? Sweet. Now, there are 3 more questions. After that, you should basically have this completely labeled. To where you will flip it over and there are 3 short response questions. Okay? Why is it colder in the winter than the summer? Give 2 reasons, okay? And we are talking about the winter and summer of the northern hemisphere. Let's just keep our minds there. Okay? So within the northern hemisphere. Give me 2 reasons. Okay? How are seasons in the southern hemisphere related to the seasons in the northern hemisphere? So this is the first question where you have to actually think what's happening in the southern hemisphere. Okay? So, southern hemisphere related to the northern hemisphere. Highlight related as well. Okay? This is a question I always like to kind of think of Bluey with. When you think of any of the Bluey holiday episodes, what are they typically doing compared to what do we do over the holidays? Okay. And finally, number 9, describe what June 21st and December 21st would look like if the North Pole would look like at the North Pole and at the equator. Okay, so this is still tilted on its axis. What does June 21st look like at the North Pole, and what does it look like at the equator? What does December 21st look like at the North Pole versus the equator, and what does it look like at the equator? So you are essentially going to tell me 2 things about the 21st and 2 things about December 21st. Okay? Now, I give you the rubric for this on how I'm going to be scoring these questions. So you should go through and really look at the number 3. So the learner is able to explain how the movements, rotation and revolution, and axis and tilt are associated with the Earth, Moon, and Sun's impact on seasons of the year. Okay? So you should be able to explain. Okay? Meaning there should not be one-word answers here. I should have full-on sentences that help me understand your explanation of each of these questions. Okay? So, that is your diagram. If you have any questions, just let your educator know. I just wanted to make sure that I went through this so that you had all of the possible tips and tricks on how to work through these things. Okay? Fantastic. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, have a great day.